Hey, to start things off, I'm thinking about you all this morning. I'm constantly holding this community in prayer, knowing love and light, wholeness and strength, especially during this very challenging time. Guys, let me know what it is this morning that you're grateful for. And if you feel so moved and so willing, please let us know in the comments there. Post what it is. What are you grateful for this morning? Me personally, I'm grateful to be here amongst my very skeleton crew Unity family. I'm grateful for life itself and grateful for being and grateful for yet another opportunity to serve this wonderful, this awesome spiritual community. Grateful for my family, my friends, my loved ones. Grateful to be able to have supply in order to take care of myself and do meaningful things in life. What are you grateful for this morning? Let us know. I'd be very interested to know what it is that you're grateful for. Adventures in mystery. And we've had a lot of mystery this morning. Adventures in mystery. I felt moved to go into this subject matter because it occurred to me that how much our lives are shrouded in mystery, are shrouded in things that we don't know, we don't understand, and we live with this reality on a day-to-day basis. When we wake up every morning and set about our day, we might say a prayer or meditate or simply set an intention that our day be blessed, it be wonderful, it be positive and productive. And many times we have those kind of days, and many times not so much. Sometimes the very unexpected happens, like the unexpected of coming into a building and the power goes out in the area. And so now you're doing things in the dark. But there's unexpected things that happen in life. There are things that happen that we don't know about. There's a whole world out there we don't know about. As a matter of fact, scientists tell us that out of all the physical matter that we can perceive through human senses, there is much, much more matter, much, much more energy that is invisible, that we don't yet perceive. And we're just beginning to touch the hem of understanding. So there's a lot of unknowns in life, and that can make some of us very uncomfortable because some of us, we like to know everything that there is to know about a thing, a situation, or a subject before we move into it. But as we know, life doesn't work that way. Life requires us sometimes to move based upon limited information or no information at all. So there's a lot of mystery in life, a lot of unknowns in life. And through that, in order for successful and thriving human living to occur, we have to move forward with faith, with determination, with strength and commitment. And we set intentions for outcomes that we want. Sometimes those outcomes occur. Other times they don't occur because either something that we didn't take into consideration, or maybe it's not the right time. And some things happen, well, that you don't even expect. But even so, we push forward, we press ahead, we navigate through it. Mystery is an interesting concept. It's an interesting concept. The Native Americans, some Native American cultures have taken this idea of mystery to a greater, more divine level. Many of the Sioux cultures, the Plains cultures of Native Americans, when they thought about God, they had a particular way of relating to God. And that way of relating to God can be captured in the words Wakantanka, which means the great mystery. As these beloved people lived on the plains and interacted with the various things of nature, the various facets of nature, the great mountains, the flowing rivers, the animals, they recognized that there was something sacred that was occurring. Yet this sacredness had an incomprehensibility to it. So in understanding that, they attributed this sacredness to the divine and came up with the term, the great mystery. Now, this was a concept that did not give them anxiety. It didn't give them any sort of pause or hesitation or fear. They embraced this mystery, and they embraced it in such a way to where it allowed them to experience each other in the natural world with a sense of awe and wonder and great possibility. And so the calling or the invitation in that was, rather than trying to come up with a scientific understanding of things that our culture has a great tendency to do, the tendency was more to be at one with it all, to be in communion with it all, to flow with it all, and then live life based upon that. There was no need for temples and shrines when you could sit by the water, the flowing water, and perceive the divine. There was no need for churches when you can look at the great mountains and the great pastures and the growth coming from the ground and the animals, and you can perceive sacred qualities in those things. So they embrace the mystery. They embrace that mystery. When we turn to scripture this morning, I turn to the scripture of John, which is the most mystical of all the four gospels. It's so mystical, and it so taps into the tone and the tenor and the essence of creation itself that Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of the Unity movement, it was always his opinion that the Gospel of John should be the first gospel, because it gives us the key to understanding the scriptures that would help us to make sense of the rest of the gospels and, more generally, the teachings of Jesus. When we go to the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 32, we read, "And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Now, what is the truth in this metaphysical instance? Is it a collection of facts? Is it a body of knowledge? Is it a particular school of theology or a particular school of philosophy? These things touch at the hem of truth, but they don't really get to the essence of what truth is. Truth is the experience, not the philosophy and the thinking about it. It is the lived experience of being one with God. Not just knowing that we're one with God, but actually approaching a way of life and engaging in life in such a way to where our oneness with God is a perceived, felt, visceral experience. That's the truth. It's being in the flow of truth. And by being in the flow of truth, we recognize the essence of who we are as the Christ presence. We recognize the Christ presence in each and every one of us. We see the divinity in animals. We see the divinity in waters. We see the divinity in trees. We see the divinity that pervades the whole of life, as many of our Native American cultures well understand that this great spirit pervades all of life. It pervades you. It pervades me. It is ever present. It is a presence without an absence. And once we are in that flow to where we know who we are and we dare to change our thoughts to more be in alignment with the truth of who we are. So when we engage in thoughts of love, thoughts of beauty, thoughts of order, thoughts of peace, thoughts of joy, thoughts of harmony, thoughts of being in constant, in this moment and moment to moment communion with the divine and each other, it enlivens our experience of life. It makes our experience of life more purposeful, more engaging, more passionate and compassionate. We become one with all that is around us, and it gives us a point of power and a point of strength, which is the power of this month. It gives us a point of strength to which we can engage in life. Now, that word mystery, it is very closely associated with another word, mysticism. The word mist, M-Y-S-T, actually stems from a Greek word that means loss of sight or in the dark, which is pretty apropos for what's going on right now in the physical sense. But mystery is closely related to mysticism, and the root word of mysticism is mystic. And a mystic is an individual who engages his or her life to having a momentary and in the moment and moment to moment direct and firsthand experience of God. So a mystic is one who experiences God on a regular basis, not talk philosophy about God, not wax philosophical about God, not reflect on ideas about God, but actually living and experiencing God in this moment and moment to moment. It is embodying the thoughts and the beliefs and the feelings that facilitate that moment to moment experience of God. So there's an invitation today, especially with all that's going on, with all the uncertainty with the COVID-19 or the coronavirus, and the uncertainty in terms of when our human family can finally get to a place to where we can put this issue to rest. And all the points in between, the mystery in between of what's going to happen and how are things going to unfold. There's a great invitation today to become a mystic in the experience. It is what allowed Jesus to say, being in the world, but not of the world. We may not know how things are going to happen, but we can definitely engage in prayer and in meditation and in quiet reflection to perceive the presence of God fully and completely present right here, right now. Wherever you are, God is. You're watching at home in front of your laptop or your smartphone or your tablet. God is present where you are. God is present in and as the laptop, as the computer. God is present in the light that is here. Don't be fooled because people are holding up their cell phones so that we can have light. We know that the real light is the lovely beings that are holding these cell phones of light, because we are the light that is shining in the world. And we have a great opportunity to know the truth, to know the presence of God. And I'm going to even make this radical statement. God is in this coronavirus experience. I'm going to say that again. God is in this coronavirus experience. So what are you saying, Art? That God brought about the coronavirus? No, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that because people are present, God is present, and that great spirit permeates this whole experience. And since God is present, the solution to coronavirus is present. The solution to coronavirus is flowing in that divine flow. And guess what? There are beloved souls across the planet that are perceiving this solution. They are tuning in and feeling into the possibility that the solution and the healing is at hand. And scientists and biologists and chemists and physicists, certain beloved souls are beginning to perceive a solution. They're beginning to touch and taste a solution. And whether they realize it or not, it is engendering faith to know that if I continue to follow these promptings that I'm feeling, if I'm continuing to move in the direction that I'm being led to in perceiving this solution, that it is going to come to pass. And it's going to be something that is a blessing to the world. There are other people that are perceiving the solution in the way of going within and engendering calm and presence and centering. And they are beginning to share with others who may be in a more panicked, more harassed consciousness to say, hey, we're in this together. I was in the grocery store yesterday and there was a lot of people in there. And as is common with a lot of people, there's times when people run into each other or accidentally, not intentionally, but there was a calm. And as I was coming across people and they were saying, "Excuse me," for some reason in that moment, I felt moved to say, "Oh, it's okay. We're all in this together." When I got to the cashier, they had a shortage of people. So I began bagging some of my own groceries. And so the cashier looked at me and said, "Thank you very much. I'm so sorry that you had to do this and that we don't have enough people." And I just felt moved to say, "Hey, it's okay. We're in this together. We are all in this together." And because God is present, it is possible for us to know that viruses are not necessarily negative things. We often hear about viruses in that context, but it is possible to start other viruses. I advocate that we start a virus of love, that we start a virus of compassion, we start a virus of faith and peace. And we can do that right where we are. Even though we may be hunkered down in our homes, we can call individuals and check in with them and be that presence of peace. We can reach out on social media, as many of us are doing, sharing helpful information, sharing reminders to stay spirited, stay inspired, and stay calm. And we can be that presence. Our spiritual community is now exploring Zoom and looking for opportunities to engage and congregate by the use of this beautiful technology of Zoom, this beautiful app where we can all connect and talk with one another and uplift one another. We are perceiving into that solution by being the presence, because the solution isn't just medical. The solution, more than that, is consciousness. It's having the right consciousness that creates the right environment for God to flow and solutions to what we are experiencing to flow. So I say, embrace the mystery. Embrace it. No, we don't know what's going to happen moment to moment. We don't know what sort of calls are going to be made for us to do in terms of our leadership in our city, in our state, in our country. We don't know what more steps of precaution we're going to have to take. We don't know what those experiences are going to be like. But what we do know is that God is fully and completely present right where we are. And if we're having trouble perceiving that, the quickest way to get into that God vibration is breathe. Breathe. I invite you to just breathe and settle in and perceive and feel into the presence of God. I invite you to, this is a time for doubling down on our spiritual practices. It's a time for doubling down on prayer and meditation, doubling down on right thoughts, doubling down on acting and being the truth that we know, doubling down on perceiving the presence of God and being the light right where we are. We can do it. We are doing it. And if you ever needed any evidence as to the power of what engaged souls can do, engaged souls managed to put forth this beautiful spiritual service, this spiritual experience without lights, without electricity, without audio, without slides on the screen. We will be the light. We are Unity of Wichita. And as we move forward into our future experience and the mystery that is there, we will step into the mystery and we will embrace it and affirm our oneness with God. As always, I hold you all in very sacred space. And into that sacred space, I speak a simple word of prayer: life, light, and love to you all. God bless you.